So today I'm going to do a video on how I got a job as a NICU nurse, since I know that this is a very popular field and many new grad nurses want to go into this field after they graduate. And this had been a dream of mine since I was in 8th grade, and so I was always searching on YouTube or online on how to get a job as a NICU nurse, and I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of information out there, like the steps to make yourself more appealing to NICU nurse managers, and just the whole process wasn't specifically laid out enough. I felt like it was just a lot of guessing, and whenever I was applying to NICU positions, it was just shooting in the dark. I didn't know what I was doing actually, and I was applying all over the country. I just anywhere would be fine as long as it was NICU. It's basically how I was feeling. Right now I'm currently a NICU nurse in the dream city that I wanted to be in after graduation. So everything worked out the way that I have always hoped and dreamed that it would. It's pretty crazy how that happens. So yeah, this is a video explaining how I got this job and all the steps that I took in nursing school to make me more equipped to be a NICU nurse. I filmed that intro just make sure that the camera position was good, because I'm just laying my phone against a candle, and I realized that you'd probably be totally distracted by my pantry being open. So moving on to what I did in nursing school to prepare for being a NICU nurse after graduation. I know a lot of people can volunteer in hospitals to make themselves more marketable after graduation, so they have patient care tech experience, or they were working in the NICU stocking, and so they were just around that environment a lot. And also at my hospital they offer a program which allows nursing students to basically have an internship at the hospital, and then they usually offer that nursing student a job. They're learning the same job that we did, but as nursing students, and they actually do get paid for it at the end. They have this lump sum money. So that's another option that wasn't available in my city that I went to school in, but if you live in a bigger city and are interested in going to the hospital that is near you, then I would definitely look into that and see if there's any sort of nursing student internship into a unit that you want, specifically NICU. So yeah, definitely look into that. But what I did to make myself more marketable, so I knew that I wanted to be a NICU nurse after graduation. So I joined a nursing organization that has to do with newborns and neonatal and obstetrics and all of that in my nursing school. So there's probably a club at your nursing school that has a similar area of focus, and so we always had people coming in and talking about their fields. NICU nurses would come in, OB nurses will come in, and just give us advice, and we can just learn about various things. We had one about perinatal loss, adoption was another one. So yeah, there were just little meetings that we'd go to once a month or so, and learn about the field. And so that is something to put on your resume. And also I held a leadership position. I was a vice president. So I definitely went hard and really tried to get that position so that I would make myself more marketable after graduation. So I would definitely recommend doing that, and if there's not an organization like that at your school, start one. I know this organization at my school hadn't been around that long, just maybe 4 years or less. So definitely look into starting an organization that's newborn and obstetric focused if you don't already have one at your nursing school. That would look really good to managers. They're oh wow, this person really was passionate about this area and went out and started an organization on it. Also, there's other organizations outside of nursing school AWAN. I'll put what that stands for right here. So if your nursing school doesn't have an organization a newborn and OB focused one, then you can just join the national organization and there should be a local chapter in your city or near your city, and you can get really involved with that. And actually that would help you make connections at hospitals in your city if you're looking to apply to a hospital in your city after graduation. So you can make a ton of connections with other real life nurses who are NICU nurses or OB nurses, and they can definitely help you out. I did not personally do that, but I have a friend who did, and now she's an OB nurse. So I keep saying OB nurse. I mean obstetric nurse, L&D nurse, you get it. Okay, so step 1, join an organization. Step 2, research about neonatal. Basically focus all your projects in school on neonatal if you can. So So for example, I had an evidence-based practice class, and I was able to do my evidence-based practice project on neonatal pain and like non-nutritive sucking plus oral sucrose for neonatal pain, how that has been shown to like effectively reduce neonatal pain. So yeah, if you can, and if you're allowed to like pick your own topics for the projects that you research on and write about, definitely do it focused on something to do with the NICU, like reducing noise level or music therapy or therapeutic touch. Obviously you can't in like adult health classes, like you have to, or like mental health classes, like do that actual project, but yeah, and like your very last, I know for me in my last semester, I had an evidence-based practice class so I could like do my research in the NICU area. And if your professor has like a selected list of topics that you have to do it on, I would try talking to them and seeing if you can do yours on something NICU related, and if not, then I guess you could always do a side project, which is like a lot of extra work. I know that nursing school is already a lot of work, but this is about making yourself like the best candidate possible. So if you could like collaborate with your women's health professor and kind of do some sort of EBP project on that and like have her help you, I think that would be super beneficial. It's just gonna show your nurse manager that you go the extra mile and that you're really passionate about the NICU. Okay, so I guess that's like it for that. I mean, obviously make good grades, try your hardest. I felt like my nurse manager wasn't super concerned about my GPA. I mean, she saw that I had a good one, but she was just like, okay, next. Like, she's more concerned about clinicals that I did, making sure that I had like rotations in the NICU, which I know that's not always an option for some people. And there's actually one girl that also got hired as a new grad at my hospital, and she had 0 NICU experience. So it's not completely out of the question that you'll get a NICU job if you don't have any experience in the NICU, but it definitely helps a lot. I know most nursing school have capstones where you like basically are kind of an intern in like the specific unit that you're interested in, but my nursing school actually didn't. We just had even more rotations than like various units. So I think there was like three units that I rotated in my last semester of nursing school. So, and the NICU was one of them, and then couplet care was another one, and then ER was the other one. So yeah, if you can't do the NICU, then try to do more like couplet care, labor and delivery if you can. So yes, the nurse manager looked at volunteer experience, like to make sure that you're a good person and you like care about helping people outside of just nursing school, and then making sure I had clinical hours in the NICU, and then my involvement in my organization. I was also treasurer of another unrelated organization. So like any officer position that you can hold in an organization is gonna look really good. They just wanna see that you're involved and that you make an effort to lead people. I don't think a mediocre, just trying to get by nursing student is what these managers are looking for. They wanna see someone who goes the extra mile and is super passionate about helping people. I think that's all for nursing school and like what I did to prepare and make myself look like a better candidate. So at my nursing school, in my like final transition class, we had a lot of like resume people come in and like speak to us about our resumes and how to make that look more presentable and nice and easy to read and stuff for managers, and how to like just put important stuff on there. So I can do a video on that, on how to make your resume look good if y'all are interested. If I have any views on this video, you can leave a comment down below if that would be helpful. And I can also like talk about my interview and other things and like my daily life as a NICU nurse. So all of that can be potential video topics. So yes, I was applying all over the country, literally filling out, I don't know how many applications, maybe it wasn't that much, maybe like 15-ish, maybe 15 places that I've applied to, and writing cover letters for them was so annoying. It doesn't say specifically that you have to write a cover letter, but I think it's kind of expected of you to. And other places will have like different requirements. Like I applied to Children's LA for their like cardiovascular intensive care unit for pediatrics, and they had me write like this, like they've had like a whole like interview type of form already that I had to like type in answers to the questions and like also have a cover letter on top of that kind of. So yeah, that was an extensive application. Some of them have very extensive applications, so you're just gonna have to devote a lot of time to applying, usually. But at my hospital in particular, the application kind of didn't matter. So I did not get the job because of my application or because of my cover letter. Early February is whenever I applied. And then it was like March or something, they sent me an invitation for an open house. And a lot of hospitals will have open houses where you can meet the managers and talk to them in the different units that you're interested in. And that's basically how they decide who to interview. I know my NICU said that they had over 300 applications, and there's no way they're actually gonna read 300, like my manager does not have the time to read 300 plus cover letters or look at 300 plus applications. So the way that they pick who to interview is by who they liked at the open house. So I'll talk to you about open house day. So it happened over spring break, which is convenient. I think they just timed it to when like most people's spring break was. So the actual day of the open house, I'm pretty sure I came early and I went to Starbucks. I got to Starbucks and I just like researched the hospital a lot. I typed in my notes like a bunch of reasons why I like the hospital, why I like what they're doing, why I want to live here. Like I'm not the kind of person that can just easily talk about how I feel about things, like, or like why I really want a position. Like I have to really think through my thoughts, or else I'm just gonna say a bunch of like ludicrous, like it's not gonna come out eloquent at all. So I basically had to type out like everything I wanted to say and then like read over it, make sure it sounded good, and then that was the spiel I would give. But obviously like not trying to sound like a robot whenever I like go to talk to my manager, but just I need like discussion point topics in my head, or else I'm just gonna like blow it. So I would recommend doing that if y'all are kind of like me and don't have a bunch of words just stored up in your head ready to give to someone. I always have to like pre-think and pre-type, and then it's better. Like literally before this video, I like typed out a bunch of different things. And even though I'm not like currently reading over those things, I just like I have the list that I'm going through in my head right now. That's just the kind of person I am. So I had this whole like list of reasons why I like the hospital, reasons why I like the NICU reads, and why I like want to be a NICU nurse. And then I had my pink drink like energizing me, because like I can also be like a very like mellow, non-bubbly, not super sociable naturally person. So the caffeine helped with that as well, made me seem more personable, I think, or at least it like was a placebo effect and made me feel more bubbly. So I went to this convention early. I got there before most of the nurse managers did, that's for sure. Like I just rolled up way early, and I'll tell you everything I had with me. So I had my laptop because I was like at Starbucks like researching. I had my cover letter and my resume. I had like probably 4 or 5 of each of those. And then I also had my evidence-based practice project over neonatal pain. So I had all of the things with me ready to deliver. And so, like I said, I was like one of the first people there. Before the event opened, I was like already registered, and we were all just like queued up, like kind of waiting to go talk to people like once we were given the go-ahead. Then I saw like other people, there was like 2 or so people that like walked up to the NICU nurse manager and talked to her. So I was like, I'm gonna do that too. And then, so I was the 3rd person to talk to the nurse manager. And so what I did, I like handed her my resume on top and my cover letter on the back, because they don't really care about your cover letter at that point, because they're like, you're talking to them. So yeah, your cover letter is basically useless, but I mean, she can look over it later if she wants to. So she went over my resume with me. Actually, I don't know what she said actually. It was kind of a blur, but I think she just like kind of looked over it. And then I just like was like, yeah, so you see, I was like the vice president of this organization. This is what we did. This is why I want to be a NICU nurse. This is why I want to be here. This is why I like the city. My sister had a baby at this hospital. Like, I just like gave her the whole spiel as to why I'm like connected to this area and like really feel it in my heart. Like, this is where I need to be. I was like less dramatic, but you get the idea. What else happened? Like I said, it's kind of a blur, but I just know like we talked for a long time. Like, my nurse manager is very friendly, and she just like made me feel super comfortable instantly. There's like a lot of like easy chat, like, I don't know. She was like just a super sweet person. So like, I think like as the conversation was like coming to an end, I was like, oh, here, I have an evidence-based practice project of my neonatal pain research that I did. And I don't know, then I just handed it to her, and then she was like, oh, wow. So yeah, I was like super extra, like handed her this whole project with research on it. But honestly, that's kind of what you have to do. You have to go the extra mile. You have to show them that you are like very committed to this and like devoted your life to this the past 2 years of nursing school, or 4 years, depending on how your nursing school is set up. One thing I forgot to mention is that you need to ask the nurse manager questions. So make sure that they are aware that you're interested and aware that you have a lot of questions, and that also helps open the dialogue more, and you can learn more about their hospital and their culture. And yeah, I think that's very important to ask questions, because if you go in there without asking questions, then they're just going to think that you're not interested. So that was something that also helped me. So yeah, that's what I did, and I thought the conversation went well. I felt like super good about it. And then I looked behind me and saw that there were about 100 people in line behind me trying to talk to this woman, and I was like, wow. So definitely get there early, like as early as possible if you're in a similar situation. Also, side note, I went to another open house for a hospital in this town, and whenever I got there, they were like, oh yeah, we already filled up our NICU positions. So they filled it up before the open house even started and did anything to tell me. That's fine, not bitter. So yeah, just know that that could happen too. So don't be super disappointed if you get there and you're like, where are the NICU people? And they're like, they're not here because they already filled their positions. Yeah. If you do have like an inside connection to a NICU nurse or a NICU nurse manager or the people that work there or something, like, you're definitely having your foot in the door a lot easier than anybody else does. Like, I have another friend I have like 2 friends who also got new grad positions at this hospital that I work at, and they both like already knew people, and that's how they got the interview. That's not like how they got the interview, but like, that's how they got seen. That's how their name was out there, basically. And they weren't just like a fish in the sea of applicants. So anyways, that's another route, but this video is for the people who don't have that and have to like really pave the way for themselves to become NICU nurses. So that was the open house, and then, so I don't know how much longer after that, I got a call for an interview. I want to say like maybe 3 days or so. Maybe like that was on a Friday, and then I got a call on Monday, something like that. Yeah, on Monday I got a call, not from the nurse manager, but from like an assistant or something, that I have an interview that week, that she wanted to interview me. And then she was like, does this week work? And I was like, yes. Like, and she's like, what day? And I'm like, any day. So I can't remember if I had the interview like the next day, like on that Tuesday or that Wednesday or something. And I'll make a different video entirely over the interview, because that was an interesting experience to say the least, and I was not expecting anything that happened. But obviously it went well, and she told me at the end of that interview that I would hear back from her in like 2 weeks, or like 1.5 to 2 weeks, because they're opening up more positions and they have to interview more people, etc. So I think it was like 2 weeks later or so, I got the call that I got the job. And it was the same assistant that called me that time, and she was like, okay, so you have like so many days to make your decision. I'm like, Yeah, so my answer is yes. Just like, oh, great. So she gave me like all the information then and like sent over all the like contracts that I had to fill out. And yeah, that ball got rolling. So, and now I am here. I started my job in July. July 8th is whenever my first day as a NICU nurse was, or like first day as a new grad nurse, because there's like a whole residency program or whatever. But yeah, and now I'm here like full-blown NICU nurse, 6 months in. July, it's 5 months in. 5 months in. So yeah, that is how I got my job as a NICU nurse, and I hope you found this helpful. I will answer any and all questions down below if you have them. I know I had a lot of questions whenever I was applying, and so I would love to help you out as well. All right, bye guys.